Julie, is it more often men or women that are saying that I feel?
Are you kidding? Men are catching up, but it's hard. It's hard for men to do that. Women, I mean, you go to mental health expertise and all the characteristics of a man that are considered mentally healthy: autonomy, independence, strength, resilience, all the stuff that's autonomous. For women, vulnerability, sensitivity, empathy, expressing emotion. So, there's only one emotion that men are allowed to really openly express: anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can they express fear? Oh my God, I'm so scared of going in there tomorrow. Or sadness, or, the more vulnerable emotions. It's, God, think about it. It's seen as effeminate. And that's supposed to be bad. Why is that bad? Because women are second-class citizens, right? So to be allegedly like a woman and express vulnerable emotions is a bad thing, because you shouldn't be like a woman. Why not? So expressing vulnerable emotions, I think men are starting to catch up.
Don't women like strength?
Yes and no. They like strength, but the problem is that they also want to be empathetic too. They want to be, nourishing to their partner. And if their partner is always presenting this facade of strength, they can't get close to them.
It's like the opposite of connection.
Yeah.
But, we observed 8-year-olds in playgrounds. And if you look at 8-year-old boys, they'll do run and chase games over a very large distance. And if an emotional event happens, if somebody gets upset, say, "What's the matter, Brian?" says the leader of the group. Says, "I never get the ball." "Okay, toss the ball to Brian." Brian gets the ball, and they're off and running. They keep the game in play, manage conflict quickly. Look at girls. They're playing in groups of 2 or 3 close to the school building, and they're talking about their feelings over and over again. You said that I was a baby, because I had those barrettes. That really hurt my feelings. Yeah, well, I only wear barrettes when I was little, and now I don't wear them. But that hurt my feelings when you said that. So I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. They're talking about emotions constantly. And it's like the hopscotch or whatever game they're playing is just an excuse for talking about emotions. For the boys, the most important thing is keeping the ball in play. And conflict gets in the way of that. They resolve it quickly. They're socialized so differently.
Mm-hmm.
Is this part of the reason why it feels for many men that they are being held off all the time? Because actually what's happening is their wife is just expressing their emotions and the man never really expresses it. That old sort of slightly problematic phrase, which is happy wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
The reason why that phrase exists, I would assume, is because the man thinks as long as I can keep her from expressing more problems to me, then I'm happy. He thinks of his responsibility as just like...
Yeah, ask a man how he's feeling and says, "Well, I'm not hungry, I'm not horny, I'm okay." You ask a woman how she's feeling, she says, "Well, I don't know, there's the children, and there's this and the house, and and there's this tangle of questions that really she has to address when you ask her how she's feeling. There's so many things, and for a guy it's so much easier."
But John, as men, I think we can both agree that although, well, I'm speaking for myself here, but although in the moment, going through that conflict resolution, the 90 minutes a week, getting out your notepad, listening is annoying in the moment, when we zoom out, we realize that if they didn't raise these issues, if they didn't express these issues, this relationship wouldn't be so good.
That's right.
And we'd be in serious problems.
That's right. They're the managers of intimacy.
Yeah.
We need them.
Yes.
we need them to say, Stephen, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Did you see Stephen's face? That was so cute. He went, oh,
No, but it's true. I realize it. I realize that this is serving a purpose, which is helping me.
yeah,
You know, and it's helping us.
that's right.
So
That's
I
right.
sit there and I'll listen to, you know, the things that aren't right. But you're right. My brain is just like, me and my friends can sit in silence for 8 hours, sat right next to each other, and we'll meet each other, sit in silence for 8 hours, leave. Great evening. Great.
That's right. Yeah.
We're both like doing our own thing.
Well,
But it's just, I think men are such simple creatures most of the time.
oh, you are not. That is so not true. You know, one of the things that I've certainly seen in my work, you know, I've been doing clinical work for 50 years. And what I see is that men have exactly the same emotions. They do. They just try to bury them because it's not okay for them to express them. So they just try to shove it down. But open a little door crack and up it comes.
Lionel
Right there.
Tiger, who studied men's friendships and women's friendships, said with alcohol, men get together, they're very physical, and they talk about their feelings an enormous amount. Takes a little alcohol to make it happen.
2 women said to me last night that I was speaking to on WhatsApp. People that I work with in a different company, they were saying to me that their partners often express how they're feeling by just sending songs out of the blue.
Sending songs?
Sending songs out of the blue.
Wow,
And
that's
I'd never heard of it. And because one of them said it, and the other woman said, oh my God, my partner does that too, which is instead of like telling me how he feels, he'll send me a song, which is basically a way.
describes it.
How he feels. Yeah.
And some of those songs are very romantic, and it's like, I love you, you're the best person I've ever found. But instead, he can't vocalize it to her.
Oh.
So he has to send her a Spotify link and say, listen to this. But it's the same thing, right? It's the
That's right.
inability to vocalize, which is
Yep.
difficult for men.
Keep working on it.
I am, yeah. I'm like progressively getting better, but sometimes I have little relapses. If I am very busy in my mind, and then I have to have one of those we need to talk chats. So I think you're right. There needs to be a bit of a ritual around, like, is this a good time?
That's right.
Yeah. Will I have your attention? Or, you know, even
Yeah.
being in a different environment, like
Well, you
said.
can make a date to have a talk like that. When we are giving couples workshops, at the very end of it, we always give recommendations for ways of preserving the changes you're making in the relationship, the improvements. And one of them is called the State of the Union meeting, right? Where you start with 5 appreciations of each other, you know, things you haven't said before that you've noticed that your partner is doing right, and express your gratitude or thanks or your admiration. Then you go into, okay, so what do we need to change? What do we need to improve?
Right.
And then you finish up with this beautiful question. I just love this question. How can I make you feel loved this week? And that's closure.
You mentioned the word there, gratitude.
Yes.
Why is gratitude so important? Being grateful for them and expressing that, something that you two both do to each other.
I think it's indicative of a habit of mind that's really much more important. A habit of mind where you're noticing what's going right and feeling appreciative for it. And I know I wake up every morning lying next to Julia and think, I'm one lucky guy. You know, I've got this wonderful woman, and, you know, life is good. I go through my checklist. Everybody's okay. All the people I love are all right. And I'm with her, and I get to see my grandson, you know, and my daughter. Life is good.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think gratitude brings you into the moment. You know, so, and as John pointed out, you're not just looking for what's wrong, you know, or what your partner's doing wrong. You're looking for what your partner's doing right. You know, there's been studies, who was it, Price and Robinson, I guess, who looked at unhappy couples versus happy couples. And unhappy, it wasn't that they weren't doing things for one another, But unhappy couples only saw 50% of what their partners were doing for
The
them.
positivity.
Of the positivity, right. Whereas happy couples were seeing it all the time.
It's like they're wearing different sunglasses or something.
Yeah,
Like a different
exactly.
filter.
Different filters.
But and the negative habit of mind, really puts you in a state of being kind of irritable and grumpy all the time.
Yeah.
You're noticing other people are driving badly and being careless and making mistakes all the time. And that's all you see.
Mm.
Yeah.
Whereas gratitude puts you in a different frame of mind. So you notice actually all the good stuff that's going on.
Right. Let me
It's more accurate.
Let me draw a parallel. One of the things that I've done in my private practice, I still do, is treat cancer patients and their families. And cancer patients, of course, often are facing the possibility of death. So one of the questions, and oftentimes, I mean, the ones who deal with their diagnosis best are people who say, okay, I don't have that long to live. I'm going to reprioritize my life. I'm going to really think about what's most important to me for the 6 months I have left. So one of the things that I do in my practice with couples who are just racing through life together on parallel tracks, not connecting at all, is to ask them, okay, if you had 6 months left to live, how would you want to spend it? Who would be the most important people that you would want to draw close to? Who would you not value as much? How would you want to spend that 6 months? And I first kind of take people into a very relaxed state so their minds are really free to imagine.
And what's that doing? Is it helping to crystallize whether they should be with this person? Or clarify things?
Sometimes, but it's more that, oh my God, I'm wasting my life trying to make more money. Why am I doing that when I've got this love right here? What's more important to me, making more money or creating more love between us? That's what it comes down to oftentimes.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.